So, favorite thing you ate for Thanksgiving? No, everything?
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie with nothing on top, just plain pumpkin pie? Whipped cream? Homemade whipped cream or like Cool Whip store-bought? Like homemade! Alright, that's what I'm talking about.
Cranberry relish.
Cranberry relish. I like it. Yeah. Stuffing? What was in it? Relish and onions? Oh, cool. Alright. Yeah. Tiffany and Trish's food. Giving credit to the chef. That's good. Okay, Roy, what you got? You've never had Cool Whip in your life? No allergic reaction? Everything was fine? You're good? Okay, pecan pie. Did you enjoy it? I like the homemade stuff better, but that's alright. Yeah. Upside down pineapple cake. That's what I'm talking about. Nice. Alright, yeah. Homemade cranberry sauce. Good stuff. Making you hungry, right? I hope everyone had breakfast this morning. If you didn't, sorry. You're turning to Ecclesiastes 10, right? I'm just kind of stalling. Ecclesiastes 10. Yeah, Cassia, what'd you have? Passion fruit mousse. Sounds mystifying. Yes, John, what you got? Roast duck with orange sauce. It's a fancy Thanksgiving, yes? Fried turkey. Now, did anyone have a turducken? Have you ever heard of it? I've heard of it. I've never had it.
Too expensive.
Yeah, are they? Yeah. Rob, what would you have? Apple pie. That's what I'm talking about. Derek? Spätzle. You got to say it with a little right? Spätzle. All right, everyone in Ecclesiastes 10? I'm really excited to be able to talk about Ecclesiastes 10. I've been studying it for a while now, and we're just going to read through the chapter and then make some comments. So let's start in verse 1. As dead flies, good way to start a chapter. Give perfume a bad smell, so a little folly outweighs wisdom and honor. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, but the heart of the fool to the left. That is not a modern political statement, by the way. Even as he walks along the road, verse 3, the fool lacks sense and shows everyone how stupid he is. I've got the NIV here. That's what it says in the Bible. I don't know. If a ruler's anger arises against you, do not leave your post. Calmness can lay great errors to rest. There's an evil I've seen under the sun, the sort of error that arises from a ruler. Fools are put in many high positions, while the rich occupy the low ones. I've seen slaves on horseback, while princes go on foot like slaves. Whoever digs a pit may fall into it. Whoever breaks through a wall may be bitten by a snake. Whoever quarries stones may be injured by them. This is like a workers' compensation manual right here. Whoever splits logs may be endangered by them. If the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed. But skill will bring success. If a snake bites before it's charmed, there's no profit for the charmer. Words from a wise man's mouth are gracious, but a fool is consumed by his own lips. At the beginning, his words are folly. At the end, they're wicked madness. That's like someone from Boston. Wicked madness. And the fool multiplies words. No one knows what's coming. Who can tell him what will happen after him? A fool's work wearies him. He doesn't even know the way to town. Woe to you, O land, whose king was a servant, whose princes feast in the morning. Blessed are you, O land, whose king is of noble birth, and whose princes eat at a proper time for strength and not for drunkenness. If a man is lazy, well, the rafters sag. If his hands are idle, the house leaks. A feast is made for laughter, and wine makes life merry. But money is the answer for everything. We'll talk about that a little later. Do not revile the king even in your thoughts, or curse the rich in your bedroom, because a bird of the air may carry your words, and a bird on the wing may report what you say. All right, right. Did I get it all? All right. Maybe I messed up a couple parts, but basically that's what we got. All right. Some scholars say this is the hardest chapter in the whole Bible to interpret. And the reason it's difficult is because it's like a cluster of ideas, right? It's like a cluster of seemingly miscellaneous oracles, proverbs, metaphors, illustrations, axioms, antidotes, commands. There's themes about politics, like I said, workers' compensation, accidents, daily stuff, communication, words, foolishness versus wisdom. There's a whole lot going on here, right? So here's what I did. I went online to this thing called Wordle.net. Has anyone heard of this, Wordle? It's like a tool. It's like a mathematical equation online. It's this free little service. I discovered it yesterday. And what it did is, I put in the whole chapter. I just copied and pasted all of the text of the 20 verses of Ecclesiastes chapter 10, and I pasted it into this little window, and then the pinwheel started. I hit go, and it's like, working. Hopefully that's working. And basically, what it spit back out is this. What it took is it took 150 of the words that were used the most in Ecclesiastes chapter 10, and it spit it back to me in sort of a kind of a random way, but emphasizing both in size and thickness the words that are used more. So anything pop out to you there? Words. Yeah. There's a bunch of words that pop out, but particularly the word words. Right? Is that the wireless mic? All right, I might have to switch in a minute. So what we're going to talk about today is words. And it's difficult to talk about words because there's a lot of words in the chapter. There's a lot of words in the Bible. There's a lot of words that we use every day. And the book that we're reading is even called The Word. So we're in trouble today, okay? We're going to talk a ton about words, and I'm going to throw a lot of words at you, and some words you're going to be like, whoa, stop it, too many words, but the lesson is about words, so I got to talk about words using words. You guys okay with that? If you agree, say word. Word. A very wise woman said it like this.
Words are things, I'm convinced. You must be careful about the words you use, or the words you allow to be used in your house. In the Old Testament, we are told in Genesis that in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was God, and the Word was with God. That's in Genesis. Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that. Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they are things. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your drawers, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally into you.
Power of words. Maya Angelou puts it in perspective when she talks about words being things, that they're not just intangible, and they're not just theoretic, they're things that actually do stuff. Stuff that she says gets on your walls. I like that. Like when you spill coffee, we spill words, it gets everywhere. It gets in our upholstery. We can smell of the words that we use. What kind of words are we using? There's a power in words. Have you ever heard someone say, them's fighting words? Yeah. And you can fill in the blank what that means for you. Yep. Someone talk about your mama, or someone talks about your home state or whatever. You get excited, right? You say, wait a minute, you don't talk about my little town or whatever, Westchester, repping Westchester, whatever. You guys have all sorts of things that trigger emotions, and it's interesting how something that's just breath in the air, just something that's seemingly immaterial, can have such a tangible effect on us, right? Has anyone said some words to you that made you angry? Can you remember those in your mind right now? Can you relive the moment that someone attacked you with breath and words attached. It's just a mist. It's just breath. It's just a vapor. And yet, they can be so stinging. As you study linguistics and look at the history of words and language, it's actually very controversial. There's a lot of debate about the origin of language. And all scholars on all sides talking about, some say it's embedded in our DNA. It's just a code that was unlocked. Others say that it was, more nurture and not necessarily nature. And some say it's a combination of both. It's a hotly debated topic. And the origins, well, why are they so vague? Perhaps it's because there was no language at the time to describe what was going on with language. That's kind of supposed to be a joke, but anyway. Words have power. Let's get back to that. Words have power. Proverbs 12:18 talks about reckless words. Words that we're not thinking about. Words that just sort of come out. They're sort of inside, and they're maybe from the seat of emotion in the heart, and then boom, it pops out. And it's reckless. It just happens. It's like an impulse. You ever said a reckless word? Yeah. Sometimes a reckless word can have a good effect, sometimes a bad effect, sometimes a benign effect. The point is that reckless words of Proverbs 12:18 can pierce like a sword, but the tongue of the wise can bring, as Vaughn was talking about, healing. And so the same organ in the body, the same piece of the body, which we'll talk about in James, is a very significant, although small piece of the body, has the power of life and death, has the power to hurt or to heal. Jean-Paul Sartre, the philosopher, says it like this: words are loaded pistols. Loaded pistols. James chapter 3, I just alluded to it, talks about how the tongue can be like a bit controlling a horse, or a rudder controlling a ship, or a small spark that can start a fire. In verse 6, it says the tongue is a fire. A world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole person, sets the whole course of his life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. Whoa! Then why did God give us a tongue? And I'm just going to be quiet my whole life. It's just inevitably evil. Jordan Sparks says 1 minute it's love, and then suddenly it's like a battlefield. One word turns into a war. Why is it the smallest things that tear us down? You heard that song? 1 minute it's love, and then one word sparks a fire. What James is talking about. Eminem says it like this: you can try and read my lyrics off of this paper before I lay them, but you won't take the sting out these words before I say them. In other words, there's an instantaneous effect that words can have. You can go ahead and read it ahead of time. You can get an email that it's coming, but when it comes, it still brings power. It can bring the stinging effect of the intention of the heart that delivers it. Proverbs 18:21, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who live it will eat its fruit. As followers of Jesus, our words can be the aroma of Christ or the stench of spiritual death. Mother Teresa puts it like this. She says, words which do not give the light of Christ increase the darkness. So the question is, what are your words doing? What are the effect that your words, what kind of effect are they having on the